Good morning to everyone. I'm trying to get my yard all cleaned up, or the best I can. We're having a party here in a couple of days. Just wanted to share with you, since now it's looking pretty good and who knows what it'll look like soon. But anyway, I wanted to show you my front yard and how pretty everything is blooming. I'm going to try to put a lot more food items out here in the front. I will probably leave these flowers and plants in because they look really pretty and they don't take any maintenance. My favorite kind of plants. Well, my husband loves the Angels, but who knows if we're going to have baseball this year. We still have our sign out and we're still Angel fans if there's baseball or not. We actually, hard to believe, we planted corn in the front yard. Next year, I'm going to plant maybe 2 or 3 times as much corn and a little bit earlier. It's been hard to get myself moving this year. As you can see, we've been out working in the yard trying to make it look as nice as we could. So some of the plants that are out here, we're not going to tear out. We're just going to leave them. This is a small cub. Daylily, I love daylilies, so it'll stay in here. I'm trying to grow a lot more out here in the front because my whole front yard is nothing but sun, and I think I can probably grow a lot more stuff out here. I'm not going to be able to tear out my lawn or my husband will kill me, but I do have some big flower beds out here, and I'm going to incorporate more food items in these big flower beds. I would show you the one that's a mess, but it's too messy. I can't bring myself to show you how bad it looks. But I have another large flower bed bigger than the one you're seeing right now. Just put these tomatoes in. I know it's a little late. I should have done it already, but like I said, it's been really hard. I don't know for sure what this is. I'm hoping it's a goldenberry that a seed flew into a flower pot, and I just moved it from a flower pot in here. So hopefully the weather's nice enough for these transplanting. The big problem I had here, it was about 100 degrees about a week ago. And I didn't think if I tried to move any plants around, everything would have died from the heat. But surprisingly, this week it's down in the 60s and 70s. Great time to transplant. So what was in that container now is right here. And here is 2 more tomato plants that I'm doing. Let's see if we can see what this is. This is the Cherokee Purple. I planted one of those last year and loved it, so I found another one and bought it. And this one, I think, is a cherry tomato. Yeah, cherry tomato. And the other one I should have showed you, I think it's supposed to be a bigger cherry tomato. I have to go back and look. That didn't have a name, but it's up on the container. Yeah. Tomato large cherry. I don't know if I'm gonna like that. I like smaller tomatoes because they produce longer, and in our climate they're great, and the bugs don't seem to get to them for some reason. I did have a bug problem last year, really bad. I had to pull all my tomatoes out because of it. Because here it's hard to get the goldenberry plants, so to save my goldenberries I pulled well, it wouldn't have mattered. The bugs are all over the tomatoes. They would have got the tomatoes anyway. But I pulled them all out. Here's some more corn. And like I said, next year I'm going to plant probably like 2 or 3 times what I did this year. And I'm going to get do a lot of things different. But there's a lot of sun out here. I will tell you one thing. The morning glories are the most beautiful things in the world. And they climb everywhere all by themselves. And they go along this fence line so beautifully. But they're the most invasive plant ever. And if you don't want this, pull it out. I pull it out every year and it comes back every year. And if I let it go, I wouldn't have anything but morning glories in my yard. You say, why do you have any? Well, accidentally it blew in there, or some seeds, and they went from the front to the back and everywhere in between, and I pulled them out all the time. Doesn't matter, they keep coming back. Like I said, very invasive. And here's my food forest that I'm working on, and it's a little wild, and I have a lot of things that are going to seed, so it doesn't look that pretty. But you know something? I don't care because they're going to seed and I'll have beautiful plants next year. All this here in the background, that all is going to seed. And that means I will have all kinds of sweet peas. Those sweet peas this year went up a 5-foot fence. And look, they even were taller. Is that not glorious? Needless to say, I'm leaving them alone. And down here is some more seeds that I'm letting dry out for they can drop their seeds. These pods have not all opened yet. And when I know everything has dropped its seeds, then I'll cut everything back out here. As you can see, it's getting pretty scary out there. And all my California poppies, I don't know if you can tell that's what they are, but that's what they are. They're all drying out and looking bad too. They need to get pulled out. Pretty soon, this area will look really pretty again because I'm gonna cut all this back. I also have blackberries and raspberries in here, and as you can see, they're going out of the area they should be in. They need to be under control, and I can't seem to control them at all. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. Oh, just past the fairy garden. And now we're over here in prehistoric land because I got the great-grandsons coming over, so I know they're going to have so much fun with them. And here, I know I keep mentioning it so many times. This here is one carrot. See it? There's the bottom. Because it's so top heavy now with all these flowers, I have 2 rocks helping to support it not to pull out of the ground. And I have metal piece here too. That's how much I have. That's how heavy this top is with flowers and seeds. Is it not beautiful? Now some of them are starting to dry out to drop. This one's starting to get ready to dry out. This one, if I can get it over here, is starting to dry out. May have already dropped some seeds. And this one too is just about had it. But I have all these other ones that are still looking beautiful, and I want to let it drop as many carrot seeds as it can into this area. As you know, I'm trying to grow a food forest here, so I'm trying. I do have flowers, succulents, everything mixed in here together. That's another thing. Here is another tomato plant. I don't see any tomatoes on this one yet. Looks healthy, but just no tomatoes yet, or any flowers. My Swiss chard is all going to seed now, and I have a lot of it, and it's doing fine. Believe it or not, it may look like a weed, and this is lettuce going to seed. And these are from a couple years ago that have dropped and grown again. And that's why I do that. I just let it go to seed and I don't worry about it. I have tons of Swiss chard in here. It's at the end of its days and going to drop millions of seeds, and I don't care. Okay, here is one tomato that is doing really well. And this is what's the name of it? And we'll see how this one, I've never grown this. My son got it for me for my birthday and Mother's Day gift. He got me several tomatoes and got me some stuff to plant everything in. But it already has tomatoes. Oops, if we can get them. There's quite a few tomatoes already on it. So we should start getting some tomatoes pretty soon. Now I know compared to most of you gardeners, this is a very, very tiny little yard. And you can see it isn't very big, the little bit that I have. But it doesn't matter how tiny space I have a space. And as time goes on, I will incorporate more stuff into this area. And I am going to be putting a lot more containers in this area in the front, because I do have a fairly good sized front yard. And like I repeat, my husband's not gonna let me pull out his lawn. But I am going to go vertically up and start planting a lot. I grew enough lettuce a couple of years ago to have lettuce all winter. This year I didn't do much because my husband was so sick. But next year, next winter, I'm going to plant a lot of new lettuce, and the lettuce I usually do in containers because it does fine in the containers. And here you can grow lettuce here, all winter long. And of course, here are my wonderful golden berries. They're doing pretty good. This one does pretty good, but the trouble in my backyard, this is why I can't grow much in my backyard, because this is where all my trees are. And hard to believe, most of these trees I didn't even plant. Between the birds and the neighbors, that's why I have no sun back here. But I do have a nice, wonderful shaded area in the hot summer to come to. This backyard is a total mess, and so we're not going to show you much of it. Hopefully next year you're going to see most of my backyard. It will be cleaned up and redone. And I'm going to have twice as much food production back here. That's my goal. It'll probably take 4 or 5 years to do everything because it costs so much to garden. Anyway, these are my golden berries. I'm going to try to propagate and grow some more. If that one that I just showed you in the front is a golden berry and it works out, then I'm going to put a couple more of these plants in the front because they need to be having more sun. This one here is quite big because it does get all morning sun here, and the shade trees do let it have some sun. But its little brother right next to it, it's not that far in, but it's further into the shade, and it was bought the same time, same bit, it's the same size when I bought it, and it's about a third the size, and it doesn't look healthy. I think it's getting too much shade, and that's the problem. Now, some of these trees will lose all their leaves when it becomes winter time. So that little goldenberry over there, it looks sad, will have more sun in the fall. All winter it'll have some sun. But when it gets summer, all these trees have leaves back again, and you have nothing but shade back here. So that's why it's really hard to grow a lot of food in the back, because of all the shade. But I'm going to redo something else with this shaded area. And I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do because it's quite a bit of area back here that needs to be cleaned up and straightened out. But one good thing, it's so much shade back over here that even the weeds can't get a hold of anything. That is the one good thing. Well, I'm going to let you go. I gave you my yard update. Hope you enjoyed it. Come back again and see us again. You know how it is. If you've made it this far, kisses and hugs to all my awesome followers that watch from the very beginning to the very end. I do appreciate it. My channel is designed for adults only into gardening, home decor, cooking, cleaning, DIYs, and now I am working with a couple girls helping on new YouTubers how to build their channels. So we do each one of those once a month, so I'm going to be putting up 2 of those a month. Like I've said in the past, until Grandma finds something else to do, she always has something new on her channel. And I am joining in with some other groups here in the near future, and hopefully we'll even have some more stuff to share with you. Because joining into groups is awesome. It really helps build your channel. Please go out and make some new friends and find some new things you might want to do on your channel.